Greetings, fellow makers. This is Terry History here, just recapping and rethinking this week's challenge. So this week's challenge at first sounded like it would be more challenging than last week's. However, after studying the schematic from the Arduino book, I realized it really was just an extension of last week's circuit, where we had the blinking LED. This week we have a blinking LED that we had another way of controlling the rate of blink. Once I realized that, everything else went a whole lot easier. And the one difficulty I had with the circuit was that for some reason I built it, put it all together, uploaded the code and everything, and well, it didn't work at all. And I had traced out everything, all the wires, all the components, made sure everything was connected where it should be. Everything was connected tightly, or as tightly as it can be on these. Still nothing. I did that 3 times. So instead of starting over and going back through the whole thing all over again for a 4th time, I just said, I'll pull it all apart, rebuild it, put it in slightly different positions on the breadboard. Everything worked out great. But the real challenge I ran into came before any of that. I hadn't used my Arduino since before the beginning of this summer, and apparently the IDE has been updated, and they must have changed requirements for the code library formatting, because I tried to install my USK code library, which worked fine before, but this IDE didn't want it. It didn't like it. It kept saying it was invalid. And I had a thought to try to fix it by removing it from all the Arduino areas on my computer and putting it out separately in its own space. But instead I went online and started checking to see if anybody else had the problem and had any suggestions for fixing it. Lo and behold, they had. It was apparently not an uncommon occurrence. And the solution I found was exactly what I had thought about doing anyway. Take it out of the Arduino system and move it over to its own area on the computer. I did that, and everything on that worked fine as well. But, it really kind of surprised me. I thought Arduino would do better about making sure that things continued to work the way they had before. Or, I don't know, maybe the USK that I had was developed by somebody that didn't know the proper formatting or something. Like I said, it worked before, so I don't know. But I got around it, got it working. So then after that, everything was pretty straightforward, pretty easy on the circuit. It was just a matter of making sure everything was connected the way it should, go through the code, make sure all that was clean, remove all the commentary, all the comments, notes, upload it to the Arduino board and let it run. It did great. The extension challenges were interesting and somewhat of a challenge. but not any real difficulty. Later circuits. When we get to some of the later ones, then I'll face some real challenges. The main problem I found with the extensions was I got the LEDs to blink at opposites, one on, the other one off, and then switch. But the second one, for one reason or another, would not light up as bright as the first one. I tried it 2 different ways, so that's over in my video of the circuit on the challenge stuff. And one of the questions that always intrigues me on these is the final question for each of these challenges: where in life do you find something like this? Well, with the blinking LEDs, you find them everywhere. Christmas lights, lights on elevators, lights on computers, they're everywhere. Potentiometers, you find those in a lot of places too. There's, as Dr. B mentioned, volume controls, light dimmers, electric motor speed controls, and so on. One thing I myself intend to try to do in the next few months, in which I will use a potentiometer, one sort or another. I recently discovered boosted boards. If you don't know what those are, they're essentially extra long skateboards with electric motors that are remote controlled. And I thought about getting one of those for our son, because he won't ride his bike. He just sits on it and pushes it. And I thought this would be a way to get him interested in getting outside more. And then I went looking and figured out they are way out of our budget. Hey, you could almost buy a decent used car for the price of one of those. But then I figured, with all the stuff I've got laying around and my skills in building and the making skills I'm developing here, I can make one. And I would add a handlebar to it to kind of compensate for his, should we say, lack of coordination. And this way, the thing would cost a whole lot less, almost nothing, because I have most of the stuff already on hand. And I thought, I can, in thinking about how to control the thing, how's he going to control the speed? If I put a handlebar on it, one of the handle grips could be the speed control. And that would be a potentiometer, because it would be electric powered, so therefore it wouldn't be an accelerator, it would be a potentiometer. And so hopefully within the next few months I can get that done. I'm sure I won't get it done in time for him to have it for Christmas. Maybe I can get it done for his birthday. But I also thought about maybe putting extra large wheels on it, then he can ride it off-road. That way he doesn't have to get out in the street to ride it. But anyway, that's my wrap-up for week 2. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you all had as good success and as few difficulties and challenges as I had this week. Enjoy, take it easy, we'll see you next week.